Test, test. All right, yep. Should be live here again. Got the work I had to do knocked out. How do I feel about cost? 300 put for November monthly. Neo, were you on for Pete's session last night by chance? That 2 hour thing we did? No? Okay. It is on my YouTube channel and on the Twitch channel here. No problem. I recorded the whole thing. It is on my channel, and actually, if you view it on Twitch, I think you can see the stream markers. Maybe if not, I'll go highlight it for you, or I'll tell you where to fast forward to. But he talked about Costco. Um, Long story short is that I believe he's long Costco, if I remember right. Yeah, yeah. I did put together a little 4 minute video uh, on Flow with Charlie, but there's a longer video that's about 2 hours that I did. Yeah, charting with Pistol Pete. And there are 13 stream markers in that one. Let me see if I can tell you about where he covers Costco. It's towards the end of the video. So if you don't want to watch the whole thing, uh, if you start about an hour and 50, about an hour and 50 in, he talks about a little bit about cost and a little bit about the XLP, and it continues into an hour and 55 minutes. He talks about it a little bit more, and at 2 hours he talks about it a little bit more. So you might, yeah. But I shared, he was sharing his screen for that whole thing, so you can listen to the whole thing. But yeah, if you want to see his charts and stuff, and what he thinks of the charts, started at about an hour and 50 minutes and watched that portion of the video. I think you'll find that useful. There we go. You're back. I don't know where I went. I mean, I was gone for a little bit, but I've been back for a few. The stream pause or something? Oh, okay. Oh, who's calling me now? Hello? Junk. Gotta get so many spam calls. Block. Hmm. I just heard some message about I don't know, something about a Ford the transmission in a Ford Fiesta. No idea. Just listening to the headline. So there was quite a bit of Disney flow that came in today. Looks pretty good here. Let's go look at. When is Cisco's ER? I'm going to keep that in mind. I was looking at the Cisco chart earlier, and but I don't know when their ER is, and I want to say not too far away. So I'm going to take a look at that in a minute. So this thing's at 131.37, which is, pretty close. This is a weekly chart that I'm showing you on Disney. Pretty close to support here. $11.45 news was bad for your trade. Did you get stopped out of something on that SPY drop? Is that the news? I assume you're talking about it happening here on that potential delay that came out. Facebook reveals privacy breach involving developers and groups API. Said the blog post. Okay, we saw that yesterday. That's recirculated. That ain't new. Yeah, the China-U.S. trade talk delay. Yeah, we took a nasty dip at that on that headline, but I didn't change any of my positions on that dip, only because I was looking at the charts going, okay, well, we should find some support, and when those headlines come out, those algos can just wipe everybody out and then just take it right back up. Well, the markets are news driven right now, and the algos pick up on those headlines and immediately determine if that's going to scare people out of positions or not. How do I see stocks right now? I think there's still, a lot. I think there's still some indecision. The market is just, we're at all-time highs. There's some uncertainty. I think there's some bears that are, waiting, expecting the next big drop. So I think it's cautious, which has made, swinging things and whatnot very, very difficult. AbbVie announces launch of private offering of senior unsecured notes. I just got a headline. I don't know if that's something that's going to have any sort of impact on my position, but I'm just going to keep an eye on it for a minute. AbbVie's offering being conducted in connection with acquisition of Allergan. Okay, we already knew they were acquiring Allergan. That's old news. AbbVie expects to use proceeds to fund portion of cash consideration due to Allergan holders. I don't trade stocks, but I trade yen pairs, which have strong correlation with stocks. Yep. Yeah, BB7, let's watch it here for a minute and see if this headline that just came out is going to have any impact. I just saw a headline. I can't imagine that this is some big surprise, but I could be wrong. There was a headline that just came through about an offering of senior unsecured notes in relation with the Allergan purchase. So I just kind of want to pay attention to that. I'm on it. And see if this is gonna have any impact. 11.6. But yeah, then I will certainly talk a little bit about this and why I am long. I just want to give this a minute to see if it reacts after it's been digested. And I don't see any big move happening at the moment. So yeah, the main reason that I started even looking at this ticker is because one of my friends who has been she was a pharmacist and manages quite a few pharmacies, is the one that turned me on to this stock when it was up here at 120. And she said that there had been rumors that they were going to buy Allergan. And I don't play much biotech either. And I don't know much about them. So I'm not the kind of person that, reads through, trial results and understands them or anything else like that. But what she did say is that she said, look, AbbVie, what I know about them, they're a great company. There's a lot of their medications that we distribute. Everything that she knew about them was good. But she said that they were buying Allergan, or that there was a rumor of it. And she said, she doesn't know anything about stocks or the market. So I was just asking her, hey, what are some of the like what are some of the best companies that you can think of? And maybe something that I'm not familiar with, and I'll go do the research on them. And this is one that she brought up, and she said, if they buy Allergen, it's going to make them a straight up like powerhouse. And so I started watching them. Well, the Allergen deal, the kind of the specifics of that deal came out, and it was one of the most, if not the most expensive biotech like takeover, billions of dollars. It was a big number. I can't even remember exactly what it was. And on that news and on that number, it started to drop. And I started reading these reports from the analysts saying, this is way too expensive. We're concerned about the future of AbbVie and their, how they're going to stay relevant in the market, because there's all these off-brand medications that, can compete with some of their stuff now. And so it was like, headline after headline regarding concerns in profitability and their pipeline and their future. And, oh my God, they paid way too much for Allergen. They're never going to recoup that. Those sort of headlines just kept coming. So this thing just kept dropping from 120 down here to 62. And you said you held that weekly AbbVie through 80% loss average, down slightly, and sold right at break even. Could have made about 10%, but didn't want to get greedy. Yeah. Well, good. I mean, you work within your risk profile. But so down here in the 60s, I really was paying close attention to it, and I saw it look to me like it had found bottom here and started kind of bouncing. Then I saw it cross the 34. I actually got in some commons around $64. When I saw it start to make this move off the bottom, I got in, I don't know, right around 64.70-ish down in here. And when it crossed the 34 on the daily, and I saw the 8 EMA cross over the 34, I said, man, this thing is looking like it wants to turn around. And then headlines started coming out that, insiders, or no, it wasn't even a headline. I was looking at the insider buys, and insiders were buying the shit out of it under 70. I mean, they were buying it up. And I'm like, okay, well, they're buying. I see the trend reversing. It looks like it's moving up. And then some headlines started coming out that, okay, well, it's better than we thought. And they have a great pipeline. And buying Allergen, turns out, we think is going to be a really good thing for them long term. And we don't think they're stupid. We think they made a great decision. And so it was just like, the bad headlines, and they didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't like there was some scandal or, they did something illegal or anything like that. This whole drop was nothing like that. It was just, they paid too much in this merger, in this buyout. And so, I think the long-term potential of AbbVie is really good. It might take them a while to, recoup what they're paying for Allergen. But, everything that I've seen and everything I've read in the last couple months has been very positive. So, I think this was one of those that, it was way overdone. This area where I bought in and it looked like it was turning around was a previous area of support, and previous to that was resistance. So I said, okay, if it's going to make a move, it's going to turn around. This would be a good area right here for that to happen. And sure enough, it did. So, I think it has turned around. I was watching this area around 77 pretty closely. And then they just had their ER, was last week. and they actually reported good, and they guided up. So this actually shows, and I think that if you look at the estimates that were out there, obviously it has moved up since ER. It had a nice pop. It's been staying above this 80 MA on the daily, but I think the results were better than, what everybody expected, and I think they expected worse, and I think when these numbers came out, there were a lot of people that said, "Oh my gosh, this, their balance sheet doesn't look as bad as we thought. The numbers are better than we thought," and they have had quite a few headlines on, approvals of new drugs and things like that. I've seen a few headlines that were really, really positive. So, that's it in a nutshell. Sorry if that was a little long-winded. But I've talked about AbbVie a few times. I actually called a few people when it was down in the mid 60s, and I'm like, I bought some longer dated. I have some $90 calls out to 2021, and I have some 8250s out to next year. So I think the long term, the growth potential here is good. Yeah, no problem. I can't tell you what it's going to do, and I know my camera just went out. I think it went to sleep. But yeah, maybe that helps. I think it helps to understand why it dropped from where it dropped. And to know that it wasn't, some scandal or some bullshit or anything. It was nothing like that. And look at this cup here, cup and handle on the 1 minute right here. I would have liked to see this get a little higher before pulling back. But let's see if it can get back over that 81.86 or not. So the other reason I have Commons as well is because they do have a really good dividend. So the dividend and the growth potential, kind of why I'm holding. Yeah, BB7, it's been riding that 80 MA since August. And yeah, that bounce off of it today was perfect. But look at the like on the daily, it's just been cranking to the upside. And I said it yesterday. I know this area in here is going to pose a challenge for sure. And I've taken some profit along the way. And I think on weeklies, this is going to be difficult potentially for us to break through, above 85. Why is my camera still off? I still have battery. Should be all right. There we go. For a second, what the hell is going on? All right, guys, I'm going to check and see what the heck's going on with my camera. There we go. All right, back to normal. And Juniper broke 26 to the upside. It's made a nice move today. How many hours more until closing? You got 37 minutes. 37 till regular market hours close. Hey, what's up, Bobby? What's up, man? Why would it be better to add an extra week in options to weeklies just to give it more time? Like, what would make you buy a weekly instead of waiting an additional week? Well, so it kind of depends on the move, like the time in the week and the move that you're thinking it might make. Yeah, if you give yourself with options, I kind of anticipate, I try to get a sense of where I think this thing's going to go and maybe how long it's going to take to get there. And, that's how I make a decision, on how much time I'm going to give it. And also the price of the contract has something to do with it. If I think that it has the potential to make that move this week, those contracts are going to be less expensive to try. Now, something like AbbVie that I bought really low, and I said, well, I think eventually it's going back to $80, but it could take months to get there, then I'm going to buy a ton of time on those. The weekly will make more money. Not always, but you can get higher percentage moves sometimes on a weekly contract. Like if it's out of the money and no one thinks it's going to get there and you're looking at it going, yeah, but I know something or I see something, I think it's going to make this move. It's more risky, but if you're right, then yeah. I did see that. Thank you. Thank you. I watched the chart after the headline came out, and so far it hasn't seemed to react. Good looking out. Thanks, man. How do debt offerings typically affect a stock? It's something I've never researched, like when they offer senior notes and whatnot. It depends. Like these are senior notes, so this isn't like a direct share offering to the market. Um, it's they're not diluting shares directly into the market. So it's a little different. Not to say that it's not going to have an impact. It might. I don't know. So sometimes it depends on the reasoning behind it, right? In this case, I don't think this surprises anybody because of what they paid for Allergen or whatever it's called. Because of what they paid for them, I don't think this surprises anybody. I don't know. Yeah, and my take on it is I don't think based on I watched this ticker, but when that headline came out, it at least so far, assuming the news has been digested, it I don't think it was a surprise. Like I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing people being blindsided by this. So, but yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you looking out for me. So there you go. But depending on the type of offering and whether or not it's a surprise and how much it is and what the terms are can all have an impact. If you're in a shitty stock that surprises everybody with a secondary where they're selling on the open market, that's when you see those huge drops, right? You'll be in some low float bio. Not to say that it's not going to happen. I'm not saying anything. But I am saying that, I've seen plenty of cases on a low floater where news will drop of a secondary and they're diluting the stock and that stock will tank. And it's because, a lot of times they're doing it to pad their own pockets. In this case, it was for a very large purchase that I think, most of the market now sees as a good thing. So I would assume that's why it's not having a big impact. And again, this, who knows? We could wake up and this thing gaps down because whatever. I don't know, but I'm not seeing any movement. Disney is bouncing off VWAP right here. It's above VWAP. It's above the 8. And as we saw, longer term support level. After this drop in a few days from the upper 130s, or 130, upper 133s, 133 and change. I was thinking about getting in AbbVie, but it's having trouble with 80. Yeah, like I said, the longer term chart shows you why. There's definitely going to be some resistance to contend with. If I compress this daily chart down and you look at, the areas where it has, either consolidated or spent some time, you can see like this area in here that we're entering, that was an area of consolidation on the way down, and it was an area of resistance and support on the way up. So it doesn't surprise me that we are going to struggle a little bit coming into this area, as well as right in here. Why is it not drawing now? Like all of this in here, right? See? Yeah, I am. I have next week's 82s that I'm watching closely. But I've also got commons in AbbVie, and those I'm willing to hold longer term. I flipped out of some yesterday, got them a little bit cheaper. I don't know that I would call AbbVie a YOLO. Right now it's holding, it pulled back. It's holding this 81.55 support today on the 1 minute right now. It's full cup, came back up, tested that 81.86, 81.87, rejected, found support at 81.55. We'll see if that holds. Given that you got 26 minutes left, I might wait till tomorrow and let this news, if it hasn't been fully digested, fully circulated, I might wait until tomorrow and look to something, out next week or maybe longer. You're welcome. Andy, I'm going to point you to the same video that I just pointed. I think it was BB7 or who was it? Neo to, because if you go to on my Twitch channel after the market closes, look for the video that was recorded last night, and it's titled like 2 hours of charting or something with Pistol Pete. We spent 2 hours last night going through charts and stuff, and Costco was one of them. And if you fast forward that video to about an hour and 50 minutes, that's where he talks about Costco. Spence, yes it is. Yes it is. But yeah, go look at that, because he talks about Costco and how it relates to the XLP. He talks about the chart. He talks about, yeah, it's a good video. It's a good video. It starts at about an hour and 50 minutes. You got to kind of, because he bounces around a little bit, and he talks a little bit about the XLP, and he talks a little bit about diamonds, and he talks about some other stuff. But for about 15 minutes there, just kind of watch that section, and he does talk about what he thinks on Costco, and if I remember correctly, he is long Costco. But he goes through his, potential targets and stuff. Yeah, it's all good. It's recorded for that reason, and I'm actually going to slice it up into some smaller sections that, specific areas. But yeah, all that information's in there. And we're gonna be doing more of those too. He's got some travel coming up, kind of through the end of November. But we're gonna do some more videos. But he covered, God, probably 6 or 8 charts, 6 or 8 different charts in that video last night. Look at this thing. It's just strong. And KO looks pretty good. And I know Pete is long KO. I followed him on that on Commons. But it looks pretty good. XOM I haven't even looked at today. Is it doing anything? So we had a drop this morning. Decent sized drop. I mean, for XO, right? It's in reality, it's like $1.50. So decent drop. I didn't see anything on them. Oh, fuel cell shares rocket 108% on news of expanded carbon capture deal with Exxon. YOLO puts. Thanks, man. If you have Amazon Prime, or if you don't. But if you have Amazon Prime, get that Twitch Prime for free and subscribe. I would appreciate it. Advi Green. Sweet. YOLO puts. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, let's see if we can get through this. Through this 8190. To connect on PC browser, Prime to Twitch. Yeah, thank you for doing that too, Sarah. I really appreciate it. There's been a few Black Box members that have come over here and done that for me, and definitely appreciate the support. Tesla seems to have a cool little cup forming on the daily. Let's go. I can go look at Tesla. I don't, I don't typically. Ooh, Juniper, what are you doing? Gonna sell off at the end of the day? I don't typically, swing Tesla. I do play it from time to time. Intraday. Just because you never know what the hell is going to get said. But yeah. Let's look at this weekly. Oh, not that one. Oh, that is the weekly. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Since July, May. What is this range? 259 all the way up to 360. If you flatten this weekly chart out a little bit, and I like to draw these kind of, okay, where does it keep rejecting? And where does it keep finding support? You could go down here to the 200. But you're right in the middle of that range right there. You could make, if it was any other ticker, let's look at, I want to see, let's look at this. Kind of see where we're at. So it made it all the way. There's your 1618 extension right there. That the wick popped through that, but the body of the candles on the weekly stopped right there at the 1618. And if I was looking at this, it's got certainly, could pop through and keep going. We're at 326, the top of that wick. Golly, 341. See, it's just so volatile too. and it can make some huge moves. And we all know that. That's what makes it fun to play sometimes, right? Let's look at the daily. So this is the cup you're talking about on the daily. Yeah. I mean, I just can't play Tesla based on these kinds of charts because it just, if you're wrong, uh, it can hurt you. Typically, when I'm playing Tesla, it's momentum or news driven or something like that. Um, I just don't. I'm not swinging something like this. Love hate relationship. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's times that I have swung it like and done really well on it, and other times where all right, well I did really well on it yesterday, and today it took it all back. I'm gonna look at something here. Roku. Hey, who's talking about Roku subscription numbers being up? Hey, Rocky. So, question about that. Because as far as I understand, when you're talking about, because they don't make any content, right? They're not that kind of. So when you're talking about subscriptions, are you talking about subscriptions that are sold through Roku devices to like HBO and that sort of thing? Yeah, I mean, I see the population as a whole, has moved more toward streaming services, and even grandparents and stuff are like, oh yeah, I got this device that the nice guy at Best Buy sold me, right? So I see that, and I could see that impacting, but it's like a pass-through device, right? I just, you know me, I struggle with this Roku story anyway because I'm like, there's better devices out there. So I don't, the fact that that they see more subscriptions going up. Okay, is that because more people are buying Roku, or is that because they've offered more services to the Roku users who, previously only had this service, but now they can get this one? I don't know, but they're not. How much of that impacts their revenue? I don't know. There is no subscription. Wait, let me make sure I'm understanding. And we might be saying the same thing. We might be saying the same thing. Roku themselves, they do not have a subscription. So you're saying, if you're saying that Roku is riding the coattails of the HBOs and then I agree with you. But if you're saying that that there's something special about Roku's platform, then I would have to disagree. Well, Yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody with a Roku could speak up. I'm an IT guy. I don't have a Roku. Um, but I do have a Shield TV, and I have Fire Sticks, and I have Samsung TVs, and I have Sony TVs, and all of them have the ability to stream HBO, Netflix, YouTube, you name it, and subscribe directly to those services, which is why I have said multiple times, like I struggle to see, what is making them any different besides the fact that, their platform, like Android, is built into, TVs. But I, for one, am not buying a Roku TV, but I'm sure some people do. And yes, Tally, I agree. Like, and I'm not buying a TCL. Like, if I'm going to buy a TV, it's not going to be a Roku TV. It's not going to be a TCL TV. Spence, you can send it to me. This is Bender. Right, but now they do. Right? Now all the TVs, all the smart TVs, like all the big name brands have all that stuff. So and that's what I've said before is that before TVs were smart TVs, before everyone had a smart TV and before you could buy one that has all those apps, I it started with kind of Chromecast and Fire Stick and Roku, in the early days of plugging a device into an HDMI port and making it a smart TV. But you don't need them anymore. Like you buy a new TV and it comes with all that stuff. So I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean you can just about every TV out there you can put almost any app on there that you can think of. So that I just and originally they had some, you know, some like dumb games, but that I guess people thought were cool. I don't know about it anymore. And no, and Zach, correct. And I use something similar, but can't put it on a Roku. Let's see. Yeah, I'll take a look at that, Spence. Thanks. Oh, sure, sure. But but I make the argument back that smart TVs are getting cheaper and cheaper. Like, I just bought a TV for my camper that is a 40-inch. It's not huge, but it's a 40-inch, 4K Samsung smart TV, and I think I paid like 300 and somewhat, like $320 or something. You know what? If in 3 years the software is obsolete, I'm not going to go buy a Roku and hook it up. I'll put another TV in there because it'll be half the price. Like, as you know, with the TVs getting cheaper and cheaper. Yeah, I get it. And hey, we got 8 minutes into the close. I think there's better devices out there. If you're gonna buy a device, I think there's better devices out there. But yeah, that yeah, hell no, not until the challenge is like eating a Snickers bar. You make it a bourbon challenge, I'm in. But I guess the challenge is if you lose, you don't get to drink bourbon that night. Master Tomacito, man, you never know what the market's gonna do and whether or not it knows what the hell is going on and what this stuff means. I think half the people out there, less than half the people out there that are investing in this stuff, probably don't understand what I just said about Roku. So you never know. It's like beyond crap patties, whatever, however you feel about them. Uh, I lean towards bacon, and I see why they had a cult following, sort of. I guess I see where it came from. Um, but from my research, there's better products on the market. So I don't know if Roku is the biggest household name. If my grandma were to go buy something, chances are the person at Costco or Best Buy would probably be like, yeah, get a Roku. So there's that. Most people are probably not making decisions based on what the things that I am. And hell, they might sell them an add-on at Best Buy. Like, hey, you're getting a smart TV, but hey, if you want this nifty game controller, get a Roku too. You can get them for $79 right now with the purchase of it. Like, I don't know. And they probably don't realize that, hey, I don't even need this thing. So I don't know. And I think the point that I was making, um, Master Tomasito, is that it is becoming a commodity. Like the smart device, the smart TV, the platform, it's commoditized at this point to where everybody's doing it. So, what made Roku special, in my opinion, when they first came out, they're no longer special. They got to do something different, and maybe they are. But I just haven't seen it. Avi running into the close, good. Oh yeah, get your ass up there over 82. That's where it should be. Yep. Good, good. I'm interested to watch Roku and see what it does. For sure. And AbbVie closed over 82. Nice. Very nice. Nice pop on, little pop on Disney there. Nice candle into the close. I think a lot of stuff had that based on this candle on SPY, on the Qs, and UVXY. I'm guessing a lot of them have a little green candle at the end. And Roku apparently is dumping. We'll see if it's actually dumping. Let's go check. So it closed at 141.05, and I'm showing it being down 6 cents. So there it is. There's a big red candle. 138, 136. There you have it. 135. Damn. Damn. All right. Now, let's see if what a lot of times this happens. If you're a newer trader, a lot of times this happens. You get that big drop, and numbers aren't even out yet, as far as we know. But you'll see these big drops. And hell, half the time the first couple candles are in the wrong direction half the time. So we shall see. Oh no. And who put this out? Yahoo Finance. There was an article. Square and Roku are good picks ahead of earnings today. Well, we'll see. Maybe I wouldn't be gambling on a Roku ER. So, given that Roku's dropping, let's go take a look. And this is a tough chart anyway, but it's at 130. So right in here, you could potentially see, let's see if 128-ish holds. No, okay, there's 127.20. This is going to be an interesting area for Roku, I think, to see what happens. It keeps going. Remember that drop to just under 100 that happened not very long ago. And you got this 112-ish. That ain't bad. Beating a beat. So there's no guidance yet out. Oh, I guess you guys can't hear that. If you're listening to the live stream and not in Black Box, then you did not hear that. But they did beat on the consensus. No guidance yet. QCOM, I guess, is doing really well. And let's see, where'd that chart go? There it is. Yellow puts. I don't know. I I know you can download. I believe you can download the flow. I'd have to find. I don't. I think I did it once when the feature first came out. Um, that. Sorry, I'm listening to the earnings on Qualcomm. That would be a Charlie question. YOLO. It's not. It may already be there, and I don't know. It's down $18. I do want to see what QCOM is doing. So, K-Up, can you review what you were talking about there? I got in with Pete on those a couple days ago. I got in with Pete on those as well. He does cover the chart. Nathan, I believe you were around last night when we were doing the live stream. But yeah, KO, long-term area of support. And, again, Pete's typically playing longer time frames than a lot of us. So, when he's buying at historical areas of strong support, sometimes those plays take time to play out. Yeah, so he does cover KO in that video, and I can probably tell you, kids Halloween candy. Let me see if I labeled that marker. Go look at that video and fast forward to about an hour and 50. Let's see, probably around an hour and 56 minutes, 57 minutes. You should see the KO chart in there. Yeah, no worries. It's on Twitch. It's also on YouTube. Yeah, no problem. So they're saying in in Blackbox in Discord that the expected move on Roku was about 15%, which is about where it's sitting right now. So it'll be interesting tomorrow. See what it does. You know, it's kind of like, and I don't know what ANET did today, but pretty flat. But, you know, ANET taking that big drop past the 24% correction and bounced. So we'll see what happens. Oh, thanks, Bobby. Yeah, I said, you know, it may already be a feature that's available. I thought potentially it was, but I didn't know for sure. Yeah, YOLO puts if you're still on. Look at what Bobby just wrote. I didn't even see that button because my screen's all scrunched. But yeah, it's right to the left of the heat map button is the download button. Ooh, what is this? Sonos stock rallies on speculation of potential Apple or Amazon bid. Sonos, Sono. Interesting. Fox Corp announces $2 billion in stock repurchase. Nice. want to go see what, I'm just curious, see what Sono is doing on this buyout rumor. Nothing really. I mean, 30 cents on this. They basically saying that they are a natural acquisition target. Interesting. Did Ulta, okay, it finished red. Let's see if it does anything on the Elf Beauty earnings. Square was a beat and a beat. I don't know if they said anything in their guidance, but or if it's out yet. But so far, pretty flat for Square. Flow for stocks. Yeah, I think what he was wanting, Bobby, is the because he didn't ask for the flow. I think he said the alert logs. So I think maybe what he's wanting is to download the alerts, the stock alerts. Square reported guidance within a penny or something like that. Like narrowed their guidance within a like it was like originally 76. They made it 78 on a consensus 77 or something. So this looks like just Chop City. Biffy, I'm not playing it. I'll wait and see what it does tomorrow. So far it's down about $20. $20. But the reason, and I'll tell you why, is because I just talked for 10 minutes about, why I don't care for Roku. I don't think they do anything all that unique. They were anticipating a 15% move, and it's down about 14% now. Right on, Bliffy. Well, thanks for stopping by. But yeah, I talked about him for a while, and I'm an IT guy. Like I'm a technical guy. I was in IT forever, and I don't see it. Well, how does tell me how Disney has anything to do with Roku? They don't compete, so there's no uh, how explain how Disney beats Roku. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because Roku doesn't make any content, so I don't get it. Uh, I mean, Yellow, you're saying the same thing I am, but Bliffy, if I can help you understand that, uh, I'm happy to. And I think that's the issue, is that there's a lot of people that don't maybe understand the fact that, they're not competitors. Roku doesn't make any content, and Roku is just providing a platform for Disney, or those certain, like Netflix and YouTube and yada yada yada. It's just a device you plug in to access those other services. So, if you want to look at Roku's competition, Amazon makes the Fire Stick and the Fire TV. Apple makes their Apple TV. I have the NVIDIA Shield, which I really, really like. And Samsung and Sony and some of the other TV manufacturers have their own platform that offer all those services. And anybody with an Xbox or a PlayStation, or a Switch or whatever, has access to the same stuff. And that's where my issue with Roku um, is they don't. Now, somebody posted this in Discord, um, that you know some of the strength in Roku came because something about, it had to do with investors not wanting to invest in some of the other companies that they felt, you know, could take a bigger hit because of the trade news. I don't know. I have no idea. But what I do know is I had one Roku a long time ago, because it was better than the Chromecast. And the Chromecast was like, was an awful experience. But it had no interface or platform or anything else. You just plugged it in and then, streamed from your phone. Hello? And, I'm going to wait until tomorrow, to potentially play Roku. But if the sell-off continues, remember how quick it went to under 100. Not to say it will do it again, but it could. So I think, we will see some upgrades and downgrades, changes in analyst opinions, things like that tomorrow that will probably, cause some movement in the stock. All right, anything else? I mean, I can hang out. I've got some free time. If anybody has any questions or anything that they want to look at, anything that they want to talk about, I can chat for a bit. But it seems like every time I ask that question, there are all of 15 people left at the end of the day, and so it seems like, the bell rings at the close and everybody takes off. OEM Fry, what's up? I haven't seen your name on here. Welcome. I'm just kind of watching we were watching the after hours action here on Roku. Yeah. Couple good trades. Couple flat trades. But all in all, good. I tried to short Yum and broke even. Let's see where, I don't even know where that finished. Right at 100. So it did pull back a little bit. I will still be keeping an eye on this one tomorrow. And definitely be watching Roku tomorrow. See what it does. Juniper looked pretty good today on the buyback. Thank you. Thanks for following. Yeah, Juniper had that $2 billion buyback news and did well today. We actually had an alert. If you're not a Black Box member, we had an alert on Juniper this morning at 8:08 a.m. That alert went up 284%. Oh, but wait a minute. That is not, yeah, that I take that back because that was an error. 1 second. But it did move nicely today. Someone said that they saw a 188 print in their platform, which is why this would also see it and record it, but it's not. That's not quite right. But anyway, we did get some nice flow alerts on Juniper. So I will be watching that one. I did break down the chart on a longer term basis, longer time frame, and I like where it's at. What else? What else? I'll probably glance at Qualcomm and see if it's doing anything interesting tomorrow. And still in AbbVie, still in ExxonMobil, and still in Navi, N-A-V-I. I can't even, I need to just take this like open, swing, close list off. I can't even keep up with that. I don't think I changed it once today. Like this BG swing, I'm pretty sure I got out of that. Yeah, I can pull that one off the list. I'm not in BG anymore. what do you trade primarily? All right, well, if nobody wants to talk anything or say anything or has any questions, I'm not going to sit on here and stare at myself. I have videos to go edit and put out from the sessions last night and the session today with Charlie. So I'm going to go cut those up. Snap, crackle, pop. Hell yeah, he did. He did a great job. And I use fibs, but man, that guy has a way of explaining things and laying it out, and he loves doing that stuff. So he'll get on and go for, like last night was over 2 hours. But it's gold. Like Pete's Pete. He's awesome. The insight that he provides into charts, I've learned a lot from Pete. Just in how he looks at things, how he interprets the market, how he ties things together. I'll listen for that 2.5 hours and, maybe I learn one thing, but it's almost every time there's something that comes out of it that like, oh, what? I didn't even think of that. Or I didn't even see it that way. So, but he's been doing it for a long, long time and spent a lot of money to learn how to do it. New to fibs, but it's much clearer now. Lots of light bulbs went off. Thanks for having him on. I do like his trading style in terms of looking long term. Yeah, I agree. And a lot of people have said that man, that makes so much sense, right? And I use TradingView, and on most of the charts that I use, I've got these, it has this auto fib that most of the time is pretty good. If I draw them, they're usually pretty close. But, I'll go in here and draw them just either for confirmation or if something looks a little off, if I just want to, check it. Or if I want to do it on, a different area on the chart. But yeah, when he goes through those charts, he shows you the proof over and over again. Right? And I think that's key. Like he's got so many examples of just look what happens. I do this, I do that, I draw the fibs, look where it bounces, look where it stops, look where it bounces. Like he's, when you can show the proof over and over again. And he has such a good understanding of the way things move and why they move. And, when he's talking about charts from 6 years ago, oh, and then we had that happen. And then there was this headline. And that's why, like, he just knows all that stuff. Yeah, I do. They're absolutely useful. I think they're useful on any time frame. Because you'll see it. Now, it depends. Like, if you're trading, like, low float penny stocks, or something like that, then, no, they don't pay attention to those because they haven't had the time and the history and they haven't been through the ups and downs of the market to establish, those clear points and clear areas. And they're not traded heavily enough to kind of follow that rule of balance. So, when you're talking ER plays and things like that, some of that stuff in a shorter time frame goes out the window. But yeah, I absolutely think they're useful. I mean, I pay more attention to them on, the 15-minute or the 1 hour or the daily chart. And when, all those things line up, is when you have the potential for the biggest moves. If things line up on a longer term and short term time frame on a chart, that's when you tend to see the bigger moves. And he actually, if you go watch that video, let's see let me see if I have a stream marker for that, because he does talk about the use of these strategies and shows examples in short-term trading, scalping, day trading. If you look around, where was that? It was around 2 hours in or so. Start around 2 hours and look. Swinging some next week CAT and JPM puts. What's your take on those charts? JPM, he did cover, and he covered it pretty thoroughly. And, I think CAT could very well be due for a pullback. It's... Man, it broke through. See what it does. But, it breaking through where it did. You're kind of in an area where it could go a little more, but it looks like it and it's not comfortable up here. He always says, he told me a while ago, you buy CAT at 115 and you sell it at 145, because that's the way it's been. Now that may not continue, right? But yeah, I think he even mentions in that video that, will CAT get a pullback? I don't know, maybe, but he thinks it's due for a pullback. So you were here for an hour of it. The whole video is recorded, and you don't have to go through the whole video because I just told you where to look. I put in stream markers, which is why I'm able to tell you that I put a marker in at 2 hours and 12 minutes. And I'm usually, 2 hours, 12 minutes, 18 seconds. And he may have started talking about that, and 30 seconds later, I hit the button. So fast forward to that section. Yeah, no worries. And as far as, let me see if I have a marker for JPM. Let's see. Hour and 55 minutes was XLP and Costco. Right after that was PG. Right after that was KO. SMH, JPM, you should see right around 59 minutes. You should see the JPM chart. He goes through, JPM in its blue sky territory and calls out potential targets and, areas where you may see that resistance. And that video is on Twitch and YouTube. It says Charting with Pistol Pete. Yeah, Diamond Dupree. I totally agree. Totally agree. Pete's perspective, just putting it in perspective, putting the, you know, I always like when I see flow come in, the first thing that I do is as soon as I see the flow, see if there's news, right? Well, if is there anything driving this move? And then I immediately go to this like 3 time frame setup that I have here on the charts. And I just go, okay, where is it at? Where has it been? And where are the potential large, like strong areas that have proven themselves to be strong areas of support or resistance? Like know what you're getting into um, when you make a play. I think it's silly to just, and some people can do it, but just to be trading strictly off a 1 minute chart or something like that, it's like I want to know before I get into this thing, what am I looking at? Where's it at? And are we near like a key area? So for anybody that missed it, it is all there recorded, so you can go back and watch it. And it's one of the only times I think that he's actually been able to share his chart. We did it through a Zoom meeting, and then I streamed it live. So uh, it's not the normal like he takes a picture, he posts it, he talks about it. He draws some lines, he takes a picture, he posts it, he talks about it. So we covered a lot of content in that 2 hours. Highly recommended. Oh, got to get rid of that message. That was from the video I did last night about filtering out the white options flow. All right, guys. Well, if nobody's got anything else or has anything else they want to discuss, I'm going to get out of here. Going once. Going twice. Thrice. All right, I'll be back tomorrow.